Next up, we're going to wind a tele bridge pickup for my Paisley guitar. I'm going to be using rare earth magnets, which are much bigger and larger than the standard Alnico magnets that came with the kit. So they're 1/4 inch thick magnets. So I've got to drill out the fiber board, make it a little bit bigger. So I've got a 1/4 inch bit here. I'm just going to go ahead and drill out, enlarge the holes. So we'll go ahead and do the top part of the bobbin, and then we'll do the bottom part here. This fiberboard material is actually pretty cool. Got a whole bunch that I'm going to start making some custom pickups from. So you just go slow, find the center, drill it out, and move down the line here. Next we take the magnet and pop it into the hole. Got a mallet and the magnets, and this actually becomes a lot of fun because these magnets are so strong they just stick to everything. So in a lot of my research I found that rare earth magnets are very bright, and I wanted to use these in the tele bridge position. So this is all part of the experimentation I'm doing with different pickups, different wires, different magnets. And I found these for a pretty good deal online. They were 75 cents each, which isn't a bad price for these types of magnets. The pickup's going to be taller as well than a standard pickup, so I'm going to try and wind the wire closer to the top of the bobbin. So here the hole isn't large enough. I take a reamer and just enlarge the hole a little bit. You can see even that is sticking to the magnets as well. We're just going to pound this in, get a little piece of wood as a spacer, tap it in. So now we got the top done, got the bottom lined up. We're going to just tap in the bottom piece, the bottom plate. Had a little bit of difficulty here doing this. Pickups tend to move. They're so strong they want to pop out of the hole and stick to each other. So as I'm going through, I realized that that bottom plate is magnetic, and if I put this down, I'll get all the magnets to stick on the bottom, be able to pop them in a little bit easier. So now I've got a bottom base that they stick to, and just pound them in. So now I've got a spacer that I'm going to space so it's even across each pickup. This pickup will have all the magnets at the same height. They won't be staggered. So we'll just tap in the top part of the bobbin so that this is nice and level across both sides. And we've got the makings of a pickup. Next we're going to have to just wrap some tape around the magnet. That way we don't short the coil out. So what I'll do is I'll take some pickup tape and wind it around the magnets. This 1/4 inch tape I found on eBay. We'll just wind it around. So this 1/4 inch tape is really set up for humbuckers, but I can use it here, and we'll wind this around the magnets. So for good measure, I've got some lacquer here, and any spots that I missed on the top or the bottom, I'm just going to get the lacquer, clear lacquer, and spray. Make sure it's really sealed off. With the strength of the magnets and the thin wire I'm going to be using, I don't want any shorts in the coil. So just a couple sprays here. Keep everything sealed off. And if you got any overspray, you can just wipe it off with a old cloth. It doesn't really matter because you're going to dip the pickup in wax, so that'll reseal everything, keep it clean. Next, we're going to set up the spacers on the winder. Give it a test swirl, make sure it's lined up properly. And then I've got some 43 gauge Famavar wire. Bought this from Remington Industries. You can get this on eBay or Amazon or buy directly through them. And I've lost some of the dexterity in my fingers over the years here. So I've got some tweezers to kind of wrap this in. And what I do is I wrap that wire 2 to 3 times around the eyelet. And it'll stay nice and tight. If you wrap it under like a knot, it stays pretty good. You know, those first couple ones, you'll go really slow anyway, so just wrap this around a couple times, pull it so it's slightly tight. This wire's fragile, so be careful if you're using tweezers. So here it's looking good. We'll pop this on the winder. Got those circles drawn on the winder so I can see that this is centered. There's a little bit of the steel sticking out from the winding machine that the magnets pick up on, so this is going to be nice and steady. So then take the coil of wire and drop it below here. I hold the tension in between my thumb and my forefinger here. Just give it a whirl. So we'll just put a couple 100 wraps on, check the coil. These are truly hand-wound pickups that I'm doing here. So not only am I controlling the speed of the wind, but I'm also controlling the tension in my finger. So we'll speed this up and just continue to wind. Like I said, I'm going to go for a little bit of a fatter wind on the top because these magnets are a little bit longer than traditional. And we'll just wind, check the coil every couple 100 winds. And you see me going back and forth, kind of doing the scatter wound, but definitely concentrating towards the top of the pickup. So this is 2,500 winds. These are 4,200. You can see the coil starting to build. And then here's just my 8,500 winds. You can see it's a little bit fatter at the top. So we take that last end of the wire and again wrap that around the bobbin. Got my tweezers all set. We're just going to wrap this through a couple times. This 43 gauge is a little finicky, so it took me longer than I thought. So I'll wrap it around 3 times and take that last pass and kind of push it in. So we'll speed up the last 2 winds here. And here's the pickup. It's looking pretty good. Now we got to attach those lead wires, and I've got the old Fender vintage waxed wires. Put the yellow one in. Kind of curve it down and pop it in the hole. Again, using my tweezers or pliers if you guys need to. Just get it lined up and push it through. So we're just going to take some solder and my soldering iron and solder the leads to the eyelet. Trick here is to make sure you hold the soldering iron there long enough that you burn through the sealant coat on the copper wire. You have a lot of back and forth to get that cleaned up. So So then here's a sound clip of the pickup. Before I even potted it, I wanted to test it out and give it a listen. So I needed to ground the bass plate as well, and then this is it in the guitar, kind of jimmy rigged in my test guitar, and then I'm going to go ahead and pot it in 140-degree wax here. Really happy with the way these neodymium magnets turned out, rare earth. Very bright, will go well in the maple neck, ebony fretboard, Paisley guitar body that I'm working on. We'll continue to experiment here, guys. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next vid.